You know, Steve, I was just thinking.
Well, that's dangerous.
What?
Oh, fabulous, fabulous. I was just saying that these peppers are fabulous.
Oh, right. Anyway, plain is better. Take these potato chips. They're plain. Just a little salt to bring out the potato flavor. That's all you want. None of this roast chicken potato chips or mousse and onions, dill pickle. No. And it's getting just as bad with ice cream, you know. You know, there's a chef these days who's actually making foie gras flavored ice cream. I mean, think about it. Goose liver flavored ice cream. It's crazy. No. Simple, plain vanilla ice cream. That's the best. Rich, just simply delicious.
Well, you won't be wanting any of this bacon ice cream then, will you?
What? Bacon? Bacon ice cream?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, no. Well, I suppose I could try just a soupçon for educational purposes. Research.
Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum. Yum, yum. Yum, yum.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of One Chef One Critic. I'm Karl Wells, food critic for The Telegraph.
And I'm Chef Steve Watson of Central Dairies.
Well, Steve, we have our bacon-flavored ice cream here. You're going to show us a neat way to store ice cream, am I right?
Absolutely, Karl. Rather than having your ice cream really, once it's open, really rock hard, bending spoons, you can't get your scoop into there, what I would normally do is put it into a plastic bag. And this will stop all the cold air from going into there and around it, so to speak, and seal it right up. Oops. And there we are. This will keep your ice cream nice and soft and moist, and you won't have that crystallization on the top.
Oh, yeah, that awful crystallization.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so it'll make it easier for scooping it up as well.
Exactly.
Sometimes, especially if the fridge is a bit low,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like rock hard.
Indeed it is.
That, sir, is a very good tip. And a little bit of trivia for you now about ice cream. The very first ice cream recipe was in a British cookbook in the year 1718. That's a long time ago, before they had refrigeration. Think about it.
Absolutely.
So they could make ice cream in the winter. Guess how they made it in the summertime?
I don't know, Karl, tell me.
They harvested the ice during the winter, and they would bury it deep in the ground to keep it from
For the
thawing.
summer, yeah.
And in the summertime, they would go down in the ground, and they would get their ice, bring it up, and make ice cream in the summertime. Neat, eh?
Perfect.
Okay, coming up on the program today is comedian John Sheehan. And what are we going to be making with John?
We're going to be making a Mediterranean cod and shrimp dish.
And our friend Brenda O'Reilly of O'Reilly's Irish Pub and Yellow Belly Brewery is here. And guess what Brenda's going to make? Seal poutine. Stick around. For a complete listing of One Chef One Critic recipes, wine lists, and more, check out our website. Let us know what you think of the show at 757-9600. And we've been joined by John Sheehan, whose face will be very familiar to many of you, especially those of you who are stand-up comedy fans. Welcome.
And those of you who are RCMP officers on the highway.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about that. But, let's talk seafood. Boy, that looks
Absolutely, guys. What we've got here, we've got some beautiful colossal shrimp here, like the jumbo shrimp there, black tie, got some cod, and we're going to make a Mediterranean-style cod. So let's get started. Got our pan on there. We're going to put some onions and some vegetables to start it up. Got lots of olive oil.
Don't exactly measure that out.
No, we're not going to measure that one out. So.
The price of oil's gone down.
Price of oil is just,
you know, we can use as much as we want.
Let's go for it now. The budget's all right.
And I'll get you to turn it up a bit, Karl, as well. And
Oh, yes.
I'll get you to start the stirring and whatever the case may be. Yes, absolutely. And then we will...
So, John, I suppose, you know, you must get this a lot. You go out for a drink, or you're socializing at a party, and people expect you to be funny.
Yeah, I put an end to that immediately.
We don't expect you to be funny.
Oh, good.
Just don't be boring.
No pressure. No pressure. I didn't read that in the contract.
Oh, you actually read the contract.
I'm only kidding. I don't read contracts.
Most people don't read it.
Wow, do I just keep stirring this or what?
What was that, Steve? Garlic?
There's garlic butter I put in there as well,
That
so to
looks
speak.
really, really nice.
It already smells awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. Well, you can't lose with garlic and onions.
No.
They're the base of many a fine meal. So how did you get into stand-up comedy?
You know what? It's something I always admired, always wanted to do. I spent a lot of years in theater, and I was doing a fundraiser with a bunch of individuals. It was a variety show, and a friend of mine was supposed to join me on stage and do, 8-10 minutes of sketch comedy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at the last minute, he couldn't make it, and I didn't want to leave these fine folks with an empty slot. So I thought, well, why not?
Why not?
So basically, I went out there and winged it for 8 or 9 minutes.
Boy, you're brave.
Yeah.
You are brave, sir.
Brave, crazy. It's a fine line,
Yeah.
And but I was hooked at that point.
Yeah. Did you get heckled?
No, I don't get heckled.
Oh, that's good.
I don't, not very often,
Yeah.
because I generally, when I take to the stage, at this point in my career, luckily enough, the headliner doesn't usually worry about that. The MC and the feature performer
Right.
usually got that well dealt with, and these people know.
Oh, okay.
Now, I also warn the audience that I won't reply if people heckle me. I won't come back with a witty retort. I'll go right to extreme violence. And they laugh,
Would you like
but
your
it's a
face,
nervous laugh.
Yeah. Would you like your face rearranged?
Well, I just
Sir.
tell them I'm pretty accurate with the stool and with the mic stand.
Yeah.
And they laugh, but there's a little bit of them that wonders,
Will he do it?
will he do it? So they tend not to bother me.
Yeah.
Carl,
But you do have that menacing quality about you, Do you have any stars in the comedy world that you admire or look up to?
There's a couple. I have a couple of what I would call, comedy heroes, favorites. Above all, I think Tommy Tiernan. He's an Irish comic. He's been here a couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love his manic style and his storytelling. He's just phenomenal. And I would say my other favorite is Ron White. He's a Southern comic. He got really popular on the Blue Collar Comedy Tour circuit with Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Engvall. But Ron always stood out to me because the rest of them were kind of, well, with the exception of Larry, kind of squeaky clean. But Ron went out there and had a drink in his hand, had his cigar, and
He went for it.
Yeah, he went for it.
Yeah.
And I think that was great. So
He's a bit edgy.
He is a bit edgy,
Yeah.
but not.
Yeah.
There's a difference between edgy and vulgar, and
Yes.
he's not vulgar. He's just
Yeah.
like you say, edgy.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, look at this.
So do most of the guys doing stand-up in Canada know one another? Personally, I mean, or?
You know what? A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you get out on the circuit, which I've never really done because I was so late getting into comedy. I didn't go out on the road, and I didn't move to Toronto, and I stayed in Newfoundland because I got 3 kids, grandkid now, and so I didn't. I never did do the whole moving away and getting onto the comedy club circuit.
Yeah.
But I've done a few of the festivals and gotten to know a lot of the comics, and so in that way, there's always a camaraderie, and it's really weird. You feel automatically close to somebody when you know they're a stand-up comic. You know they kind of got the same mindset that you do.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, so there is definitely as a comfort as soon as you meet somebody who does this for a living, there's an automatic comfort zone there that doesn't exist normally.
You were talking about doing comedy festivals and guys who are on the road constantly. That must be tough on the families, though, eh? If they have a family at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm lucky in that I never got into this living until later. I was 34, I think, when I started doing stand-up.
Right. That's
That's
later.
pretty late.
Yeah.
Now if I had started when I was 19, 20 years old, it would have been really rough because you are on the road a lot. But when I started doing this for a living, I knew that comedy had to support me. I couldn't support it.
That's right. Yeah.
So I knew I had
Yeah.
mortgages and car payments.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
Apparently the kids want to eat indoors all the time.
Oh, well.
So. And
You should give them that. Well, in my day, we didn't eat.
No, see, we're ruined. Like
We lived on oxygen.
And my parents can get away with that still. I can't really get away with that. And my kids got it worse. They can never say the "in my day" stuff.
That's right.
In my day, I used to have to walk all the way to the bus stop, which was at the end of my driveway. No, they can't. They can't get away with anything.
Okay, then what
See,
I'll
we should just recap because I noticed
Yep,
you put
okay.
capers in there.
Well,
Was
what
it capers?
Absolutely, Carl. We put capers, we put stuffed olives, we put chopped Kalamata olives, we've got onions, we've got garlic, we've got some carrots, we've got some celery, and we've also got some potatoes in there as well. We're just going to bring that to the boil, and then we're going to Put our cod on there as well.
Okay.
See, this looks delicious, smells delicious, but it had to come from just somebody, you know, basically raiding the fridge and what do I have? I'm just going to throw a bunch of crap in here and see what happens. Because somebody sat down and planned this out.
No.
You know, when you do that, though, you just call it Mediterranean.
Yeah, exactly, Mediterranean, yeah.
That's what this is, Mediterranean cod and shrimp.
Mediterranean, yeah. Mediterranean meals often originate in Newfoundland and Labrador. Yeah. So it's always,
Absolutely.
I remember my grandmother's home cooked Mediterranean meals, you know. Oh yeah.
Do you? I know you perform, you know, stand up obviously as you go out there and you do your bit to the audience. But do you ever do it like a double act with another comic? Has that ever happened?
No.
You just work alone.
You work alone, and if you're on the road, a lot of times for conventions, they'll go through one agency, one company, and then maybe they'll book 3 or 4 comics for the same night, which is great because you get to hang out there in the green room and chat, and it's nice to talk comedy, talk shop with your peers.
What about your material? Do you do all your own material? Do you write it all? Like actually write a script?
No,
tighten it up,
I can't say I do that. I don't have the attention span.
Oh, okay.
Basically, what I do is I write it in point form, and then I'll try it.
Yeah.
And I'll have what I call a spaghetti night.
Yeah.
Where I'll go out. You can relate to this analogy.
Yeah.
I'll go out and I'll throw a joke at the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah.
If they laugh, I'll add it into the act.
You'll keep it, or if they don't laugh.
If they don't laugh, I'll go home and complain about how they don't know anything about comedy. So either way, it works.
That's right.
You know.
Anyway, I'm going to duck out and see if we can get a wine now to match with this Mediterranean cod and shrimp.
Newfoundland style.
Yeah.
There you go.
It may be a Mediterranean wine.
Yeah, Mediterranean wine.
So all I've done now, I've got all that beautifully arrayed there. We'll just bring it to a boil, and then we'll pop it into the oven. I'll just put a few anchovies on there as well.
So is this just to add flavour, these anchovies? Or
Absolutely.
Is this like just a style thing you want to put in?
No, it's to all add flavour. Once you get all them juices there, and almost like a broth, so to speak.
Wow.
So,
You know, I've never had anchovies.
is that right?
No.
Not even on your pizza?
No.
It's Martin Verhooks of P&S Wines, folks. Martin.
Hey, Karl.
Upstairs, we have a seafood lover's platter, if ever there was one. Beautiful fresh cod fillet and jumbo shrimp, the biggest shrimp you've ever seen.
Makes me hungry already.
Yeah. So what can we pair with this seafood dish? I guess it's going to be white.
It's going to be white, but for just for a little bit something different, I put in one red wine because I saw there is some saltiness to it, and cod, which are traditional. It's traditional food of Portugal.
Exactly.
And
they're very much red wine drinkers, aren't they?
they are very much so.
Yeah.
But that's why I put in this Vega Duro. It's an award-winning wine. It's new to the NLC. It's not very heavy on the tannins. Usually red wine, not a good match with shrimp. But I think in this case it might actually work. So I would, it would be interesting to see how it works out.
And to be honest, a lot of people drink red wine with pretty well everything.
Yes, and that's why we thought, like put one in there and see how it works,
Yeah.
Then the second one is one of our mainstays, the Cuvée Blanco, which is a blend of Sauvignon Blanc, Verdejo, and Viura. It's a very nice wine, very good acidity, perfect with seafood. Yeah, and it's $14. The third one is the Comte d'Albarret Albarino. And the Albarino is actually, I've never met anybody who didn't like this wine. It is probably one of the most versatile wines you can get. Yeah. It's about $21. Yes. And it's an excellent wine with seafood, particularly with Mediterranean dishes.
Yeah, and I've had it before, and I have to say it's one of my very favorite white wines. Yeah. So this is, again, it's a toughie. I'm curious about the red and how that would go with the fish dish. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with the Albarino.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Can we just mention the prices again?
Yeah, the Albarino is 21. The Cuvée about 14, and this one is about $18.
Thank you. Okay, see you later.
Well, great. Enjoy.
Now we quickly broil that for about 5 minutes, and all our aromatic flavors have come through, all the vegetables, our capers, our anchovies, and then we'll just put some of our jumbo shrimp around the side. 1, 2, and 3. Let's get some of our pot liquor just to put on the side there. And we will now go and join both Karl and John in the dining room and see what they think.
There we go. I'll give you a little bit extra. Since you're the guest.
It.
Yeah, this is great.
Okay, just have a little bit of taste, and see how she goes here. Wow,
He did a great job.
the fish is really good, but
Yeah.
that sauce in the bottom of the bowl,
The broth, yeah.
that broth is excellent. I really, really like that. Okay. Just want to ask you a couple more questions, John. Did I read somewhere that you had written a screenplay or a television show?
Yeah, I wrote a pilot for a half-an-hour sitcom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, called The Brigade, and it was optioned by a company in Toronto. They had the rights to it for about not 2 years. They renewed it after 9 months. Unfortunately, due to cutbacks, it was passed on by CBC. It's kind of been sitting on the shelf now for a little while, but we still have hopes for it.
Is that something that you'd like to do at some point, write for a TV series or star in a sitcom?
Yeah, basically, you know, the idea for The Brigade came because I was involved for a number of years with the Harbour Grace Volunteer Fire Department, and I thought, you know, this is great. This kind of thing could make a series, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of training, there's a lot of hardships, and there's a lot of trauma involved with being a firefighter. But there is also a lot of the lighter side that people just don't know. And there's a lot of shows on TV, Rescue Me, Chicago Fire, with the model firemen. But volunteer firefighters come in all shapes and sizes, you know? And our gear is not always the best. Some of it is outdated. But we always manage to make it work.
Okay.
And it's there's certainly camaraderie there.
So would this series have been set in a Newfoundland community?
Yeah. The idea was to use Carbonear, Harbour Grace, and blend them together as the fictional. And actually, that was one of the things that the Toronto company insisted on. They wouldn't hear tell of it being shot outside the province because they wanted that Newfoundland flavor. They didn't want, and I didn't want to play up any Newfoundland stereotypes, but we didn't want to ignore the traditions, the accent. So we were going to set it in Newfoundland, but not exactly play it up. Yeah.
Well, since you brought up the fire brigade, I'll ask you this question now. I hear in certain areas you're known as Mr. January.
Oh, that's nonsense. No, cut. No. That was a bio written by a friend of mine that I didn't know about till it was on the web.
Oh.
And, yeah. Whenever I go to a convention or something and they say, "Is this okay to introduce you with?" I say, "No." Hell no.
Okay, moving right along. Let's actually be very, very serious. You were diagnosed with ADD a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah, it was late diagnosis.
Yeah. Attention deficit disorder.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you, seek help, or how did you know that this was something that was going on, or?
Well, when I was in school many moons ago, it wasn't really a topic. It wasn't really talked about. So I mean, when I look back now, these symptoms have been with me since I was 12 or 13 years old. But basically, it took at the age of 34, I think it was. It took hitting an emotional rock bottom, is what I called it. And because you go through these, you miss little things. You're easily distracted. Yeah. And basically, I hit what I called an emotional rock bottom, where I went into my family doctor, who's known me for 30 years, and kind of shaking with emotion. And he kind of knew what I had right away. But he sent me to a professional, and when I walked in, I joke about it on stage now, that the diagnosis was almost immediate because he had one of those swivel chairs. So I sat down, and after 3 spins, he said, "Yeah, you got it."
Well, the important thing is that you did seek help, and that's the key too. I mean, if anybody out there is
it's a daily fight still
is fighting something like that, they should seek help and get it diagnosed and then have treatment.
Yeah, and nothing is going to be a cure-all. It's an ongoing fight. To this day, I still fail more than I succeed.
Yeah.
But I don't view myself the same way.
Well, here's to you, John Sheehan. Great having you on the show.
John.
Thank you.
Good luck to you in the comedy game, and we'll be right back with Brenda O'Reilly, who is going to make roasted seal poutine. Well, Yellow Belly Brewery and Public House and its sister establishments, O'Reilly's Irish Pub and Muscles on the Corner, owe their success in large part to the driving force behind creating them. And she also happens to be one of, if not the most successful independent restaurateur in Newfoundland and Labrador. She also knows her way around a kitchen. And we're very happy to welcome Brenda O'Reilly to One Chef, One Critic.
I'm a rare breed now, hey?
You are a very rare breed, yes. Yeah. And a rare bird.
Thanks for the chain domination, hey? Wow.
Brenda, this looks lovely. What are we going to be preparing today?
Well, of course, I've always been cooking with traditional, local ingredients.
Yes, yeah.
Right from the Stonehouse days, of course, and continuing through my restaurants today. We're doing seal flipper poutine. Yes, so, so there are some fresh seal flippers right there.
Our fryer is ready. Let's put
Our fryer is ready. There you go. So what we've done is I've actually roasted the seal ahead of time, of course. Now there's a trick to seal, as everyone knows. You got to, marinate it for a number of hours with baking soda, and then trim off all the fat, rinse it, and slow braise it. Of course, I slow braise mine where I can leave it in the oven to cool down.
Yeah.
Instead of taking it out,
Right.
it cools down naturally, and the meat just falls off the bone. It just falls off the bone. So anyway, what we're going to do today is that this is seal gravy as well. So I used the stock left from braising the meat, strained it all, and made a beautiful gravy out of it. And we're going to do
delicious.
some. Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? So we're going to do some. Those fries are good. And as you said, they're called chips.
Chips, absolutely.
These remind me of a Sunday night home in the house after we'd have leftovers, hash or whatever.
Yeah.
But we'd always have chips on bread.
Yeah.
A bread sandwich, and I wonder
A
why.
chip butty.
I wonder why I had weight problems all my life.
Yeah.
Serving that, right? So we're going to have some beautiful.
That's very Irish and very English.
I think
Absolutely.
it was because we were very poor.
Oh,
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I think it was more that than
I'm
anything
sure the
else.
aristocracy in England weren't eating chip buddies. but,
No.
Indeed not.
So what we've got too as well is we've got some local cheese curds,
Yeah.
and one of the cheese curds here is actually infused with our yellow belly fighting red ale.
Oh,
And
lovely.
so we're going to put that on
Yeah.
top
I think I
of
saw
the,
Karl dipping into that earlier.
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, it gets my endorsement. You can really taste that fighting red in it.
You can't you? It's beautiful, and then of course.
And that's
we're
what you need, though, with a strong flavor like seal meat, isn't it?
Yeah,
need
you want
something that's
something
going
to
to kind
cut-
of stand up to it.
Right, and to help cut through it a little bit
Yeah.
because it is a very robust meat, we'll say. And then, of course, I'm going to garnish it with, some pork scrunchions and some chives. So it's a beautiful dish.
Oh my goodness, that looks divine, doesn't it?
Yes, your turn.
Absolutely.
So, is this your invention? I've never heard of seal poutine before.
Yeah, I've been, poutine is such a popular thing, and I
Yeah.
want to do something with the seal that was more prevalent on our menu more regularly,
Yeah.
as opposed to seal flipper pie, which we
Excellent.
will offer occasionally.
Yeah.
But this is a regular feature on our menu.
Yeah, there's a place in Montreal, and they're famous because they have 27 different kinds of poutine.
Oh, is that right?
Now they've got 28.
Yeah, that's right. This is not.
Because I doubt if they do seal.
Seal, no, indeed not.
I think the tourists will really enjoy this, and the locals alike, of course. But anyway, so that's it. It's our seal
Great.
flipper.
And I'm going to taste it now because
Yes,
Absolutely.
Oh, and we got
I'm going to put a little bit of malt vinegar on mine, I think.
exactly, and we have white vinegar or malt vinegar.
okay. Oh, great. I'm going to go with the malt.
And if you like, I don't think it needs any salt and pepper, but I certainly have some.
Yeah. I won't
And the
turn, I
seal.
won't turn down a little bit of salt.
Yeah, the seal is tender, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. I replace the seal because I only have it once a year, but that's only because you can't get it.
Well, we've bottled it, so we've cooked it and bottled it, so
Yeah.
we're going to have it available on our menu
Perfect.
all through the year.
Brenda, thanks so much.
Well, thank you.
It's been great having you on the show, and that's it for this edition of
One chef.
One Critic.
Thank you, Brenda.
Chips are good.
Absolutely. They're hot. They're hot for sure.
Yeah.